Welcome to the ChristiTutionalist Politics Podcast Show. Over time, the fancy high production items will come. But for now, for starters, it is just you as a listener that I can barely begin to express how much I appreciate you tuning in. As I know you have a lot of options. As Listen Notes, the podcast platform reports, there are about 168.9 million plus available podcast show episodes you could choose from, and I appreciate you taking the time to listen to me. As indeed it is just me on the podcast outside for now, all substance, no muss, no fuss, no fluff, no fancy or flashy high production inserts, just straight to the key discussion points. A show that looks at a variety of topics, mostly politics, through a Christian U.S. constitutionalist lens, hence the ChristiTutionalist Politics show name. I am your host, Joseph M. Leonard, and last name is spelled L-E-N-A-R-D, author, co-host of Savage Unfiltered podcast, and for purposes of this show, most notably, blogger for thelibertybeacon.com, which most of the content for this show will be derived, food for thought you can then delve deeper into via my online articles and reach your own conclusion. And as Graham Norton would say, let's get on with the show! Hey, gang, a brief interruption in the show about Christmas giving, kind of, sort of, or to ask, are you a coffee drinker? What about other coffee drinkers you know? It's indeed Christmas giving time, Hanukkah giving time. Again, this being December now, I want to ask you, those coffee drinkers on your gift giving list, if I can get the words out correctly. What do you socks that'll get put in a drawer they forgot you gave them, a tie or a shirt that'll end up buried in the back of the closet they forgot you gave them? How about something useful like Blackout Coffee? I am partnering with Blackout Coffee. You can use promo code JOSEL20, Joseph for Joseph, L20 for 20% off, JOSEL20 promo code. Or better yet, I've created a shortcut, tinyurl.com/blackoutcoffees. And of course, Blackout Coffees all run together as one word, not three separate words. So again, tinyurl.com. I love using their shortcut services /Blackout Coffees. Should take you right in and automatically apply your 20% discount. So for yourself or for others, this Christmas, give Blackout Coffee something you know they're going to use, something they're going to enjoy, something that they then fondly remember you and your gift every time they sip from the Blackout Coffee cup of coffee. Thank you all. Take care. God bless. Merry Christmas. Hello, everybody. I am going to rant and like you see my Michigan Panthers shirt. If you're looking at Jay Leonard Detroit YouTube or Rumble channel under my normal flag shirt attire. Anyway, that's not at all what today's discussion is about. And I could absolutely go on, and I recognize this is now a bit after Thanksgiving. This is not the Saturday following Thanksgiving. It is now a Saturday out from Thanksgiving, week removed. So hoping rather, that you all have a nice Thanksgiving. And this is going to be a rant and rave episode. I'm just warning you. Up front, you need to know that. I could do an article on Thanksgiving, post Thanksgiving, and rant and rave, rightfully, about the ungrateful little bitches and bastards. I'm sorry. I apologize. Like I said, I'm going to rant and rave. I want this to be a family show, and I normally don't do that, but frankly, I'm pissed. I am irked. I had a conversation with a waitress at a eatery, local eatery, just the other day, and it was about that. We started exchanging Thanksgiving, post Thanksgiving pleasantries, and it invariably, the conversation went to the ungrateful little bleeps and bleeps. All right. In America, of course. Did you have any at your dinner table? Oh my God, about the exploitation of the land and this and that and the colonizers. Human history all throughout time, back to the Bible, tribes of some sort or another encroaching on other tribes and colonizing and conquering their lands, and vice versa. Then the underdogs who were once the conquered people then go on to rise up and conquer other people's lands. Spare me your moronic, snowflake, emotional, hysteric, devoid of historical perspective. You know nothing. This is human history. It remains today. The Ukraine war, which I will be talking about today, still ongoing. 100 plus years of Russian/Soviet exploitation and attempts to keep Ukraine under the Russian/Soviet boot. 100 years of history there. People have no clue about. They talk, but they don't know anything about what they're talking about. And we're talking today about, it was announced that Zelensky is likely going to have to suspend and reschedule for some future date the next Ukrainian elections. Okay, the first reaction is, of course, bad idea. Understandably, we don't want elections in a republic to be suspended, and of course the usual cries, not necessarily principled, is my point here. And I always I give you the good, the bad, the ugly, right? The pros, the cons, both sides. It's bad if he cancels the elections, but hang in with me. There's two sides to that, but there's a lot of people who, of course, now attack Zelensky just because they want to be as anti-Biden as possible, so they want to be able to attack Zelensky to be anti-Biden, and oh my God, Zelensky's a dictator now. No. To you whiners, moaners, and complainers, I see you on X and Truth and Getter and MeWe and Spreely and all the 15 platforms I'm on. Shut the bleep up unless you got a plan. My email, jleonard@terrorstrikes.info. My book site, J. Leonard, of course, you all know, no Owen Leonard. J. Leonard@terrorstrikes.com. I'm sure my email box is not going to fill up when I say snowflakes, both left and right. Shut the bleep up. I don't care to hear your Zelensky is a dictator drive-by potshot posts unless you sit down at your keyboard and make a white paper. I want to know, what is your plan? Stop the whining, stop the moaning, stop the complaining, stop the Zelensky is the dictator now. Nonsense. What is your plan? The good and the bad, the pros and the cons, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Zelensky is in a no-win situation. Easy to take the pot shots if he suspends an election. The other side of that, though, is what if he holds the elections? These same whiners, moaners, and complainers, just because they want to attack Zelensky, they're not about principles, they're about personalities. And what is convenient to say today would be attacking Zelensky. Oh my God, Zelensky can't hold the elections. He's disenfranchising all kinds of voters, which would, of course, also be factual. So, how do you hold an election in an open war zone? If he suspends them, it's a problem. If he goes forward with them, what's he going to do? Oh, please. Hey, Vlad, Putin, buddy, can you have your Russian troops man the polling station and help us hold fair elections to allow those in the occupied territories of Ukraine, where there are Russian boots on the ground occupying. And I'm stumbling here. What do I want to say? Yes, occupying, right? They have them under the tyrannical boot of Putin. Whatever the fake BS talking points of Putin are about why they're there and if their supposed legitimacy, like Hitler claimed over parts of Poland and other areas as Germanic people, Russian speakers that had been part of Ukraine forever, and especially since the fall of the Soviet Empire, that Putin's trying to put back together again. Oh, Putin, please, can your troops, let them vote the way they want to vote in our Ukraine elections, even though you're occupying the territory.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Ed Bondarenka, and I host Your American Heritage on Saturdays at 2 in the afternoon on this station. Your American Heritage is a show about the struggle we find ourselves in and how to react to it in the light of our biblical and American heritage. Listen to it while you're working around the house, the garage, cleaning the guns, walking the dog, driving, or just lazing around. Join me at 2 o'clock Saturdays here on Wham Radio, 1600 AM, 92.7 FM.
God bless America.
Yeah, right. Duh. Hello. That gonna work? Of course not. So Zelensky damned no matter what he does. If he holds the elections, it's a problem. If he doesn't hold the elections, it's a problem. All those in the occupied territories are completely disenfranchised. If you hold the election, what do you do about the representatives from those areas that you then can't seat because you weren't able to hold a fair and free election there? And therefore, your whole government is somewhat delegitimate. So the best that could happen is a hybrid election of suspending elections in occupied territories and saying, look, those representing those areas that were elected before are going to have to be continued to allow to be holding their seats beyond their elected terms until such time as those territories are freed and elections fair and free can be held. But without those areas electing, the national president and whatever other larger offices other than local offices is tainted because those people didn't have a say. Those results are tainted. So what is your plan? Shut up! Unless if you're willing to create a white paper. I want to know your detailed talking points, point by point, bulletin point plan. Otherwise, shut up. How do you conduct an election in an open war zone? 9/11, Staten Island, some parts of New York, elections, primaries had to be suspended and rescheduled. And that was because of a terrorist attack on 9/11 in New York City. New York was therefore then not a continued occupied war zone territory. They could easily reschedule them weeks, months later. This is completely different. An ongoing open war zone with occupied territories. What's your plan? What's your plan? Stop moaning. Stop complaining. I'm tired of hearing about you, from you, about Zelensky this, Zelensky that, this, that, the other. What thoughtful, logic, and reasoned, principled things of substance do you have to offer? All you're offering so far, drive-by pot shot, Alinsky style ad hom attacks. And it's gotta stop. We need logic, we need reason, we need, as I talk to you about, the good, the bad, the ugly, actual pros and cons, substantive discussions. Otherwise, you're part of the problem, not part of the solution. And I'm talking to you today. You can see I'm conflicted. I don't have the answer. I don't know what should be done, what we should encourage, sorry, can't get the words out of my mouth, what we should advise Zelensky to do or not do. Again, the best of the worst situation may be a hybrid. Hold the election where you can, with the understanding those disenfranchised in occupied territories are going to have to continue to be represented by those elected before till a fair and free election, which is going to, again, taint the whole overall result. But it is the best, in my opinion, of the worst options, the bad options. They're all bad options. What are we going to do? How can we support the Ukrainian people? If you've not seen my article, tinyurl.com/Putin atrocity apologist, I go into, again, the good, the bad, the ugly of that whole thing, the historical perspective, the historical record. In that article, Biden corrupt, Zelensky corrupt, Putin, please, as corrupt as the two of the others combined. So there is no 100% good here, 100% bad here. None of the facts change that Russia attacked unprovoked a sovereign nation yet again. They went into Crimea already before, unprovoked attack of the Ukrainian people. And they are expanding that war now under Biden, unprovoked, an expansion. Ukraine didn't do enough to react when Crimea was invaded. And now they are actually fighting back now that the war has been broadened. Unprovoked. You can't say otherwise. Ukraine was no threat to Russia. at all, and spare me the NATO encroachment baloney. And Bill Clinton made Ukraine a de facto NATO nation in the 90s. Why didn't Putin attack then if NATO encroachment was the issue? Clinton made it United States foreign policy that the Ukraine be a de facto NATO nation if they give up their nukes, regardless of their official NATO status. If they gave up the nukes, the United States policy would be to protect Ukraine, period. You can like it, you can hate it, you cannot argue with the fact that happened. It is what it is. So you can't change that ex post facto. Those are the facts. That's the way it is now. So Ukraine has been de facto NATO since Bill Clinton. It's just not arguable. But people don't know these things. And the Russian oppression of Ukraine for more than 100 years, just not arguable. It's history. But people don't know any history. So what do we do now, though? We're in this mess now. What does he do now? I support the Ukrainian people, not Zelensky, not Biden, certainly not Putin. I support the Ukrainian people. Bread and bullets, yes. Money, no, because again, Biden, Zelensky, Putin, all of them corrupt. No money. The money's fungible. It is being laundered. We know that. So no money, bread and bullets. But this is about how does one hold an election in an open war zone? Again, Jay Leonard at terrorstrikes.info. I dare anyone that's been online whining about this, submit your proposal to me. I want to see it. Give me your plan. And I think I've ranted and raved enough. I think we'll let it go from there. I can't imagine I haven't made my point. You may not like my point. You may not like this or that, but you can't refute the facts. We are all entitled to an opinion. We are not entitled to our own set of facts so that we can support our feelings. But I prefer this. It's the way I feel. No, logic, reason, principles, not personalities. We have to come together, and indeed for the well-being of the Ukrainian people in both the free and occupied zones, help them if we believe in freedom, if we believe in constitutional republics, and we believe in fair and free elections. How do we work this? How can we make this work so they're not completely suspended everywhere in Ukraine? These questions have to be dealt with honestly. And no, don't bring up the Civil War in the United States. The South disenfranchised themselves. They seceded. They never held long-term Northern territory, therefore occupied so that elections couldn't be held in the North. Not relevant here. Not relevant at all. But we must openly deal with these questions from a principled standpoint as to what if that were to happen here? What would we do here if somehow China invaded and occupied California? How would we hold our elections? We owe it not to them, but to be honest with ourselves, to deal with these questions as a matter of principle and logic and reason. Thank you all for putting up with my ranting and raving. As I warned up front, I am just so beyond pissed off at people online. I expect this from leftists, but people who claim to be conservative or claim to be Republican, and they're not about logic and reason. They're every bit an emotionally hysterical snowflake as a leftist is. There's a difference. We are supposed to be better. We are supposed to be the thinking party. So give me your thinking, not your emotional hysterics. Thank you all. Take care. God bless. Okay. Odd, strange segue. This is segment 2 of the show, which I was anticipating having Bill Hatch of Not Quite After Midnight show on to kick about some topics, but Bill is absent. And I've tried reaching out. I've not heard back from Bill, so I hope and pray everything is okay with Bill and his family. As we all know, an emergency can come up and you have to miss a commitment. So I'm not upset. This is not a problem. We will pivot. But I've given Bill an extra hour to join the Zoom. I record these with guests via Zoom. I've given Bill an extra hour because I don't know. Have any of you indeed encountered the issue of confusion and disruption and misunderstanding due to time zone issues? I know I've had that happen to me before. You may have too. So I gave Bill an extra hour since he's Central Time. Maybe he thought I meant Central Time rather than Eastern Time. But anyway, it is what it is. Again, thoughts and prayers to Bill. Hope everything is okay. So I'm just going to discuss a couple of the things I was going to ask Bill's thoughts on. Like, one of the first things I've seen of late is George Santos in the news again. As a matter of fact, today I saw on the Newsmax scroll where it read, Speaker Mike Johnson has reservations, putting reservations in air quotes, about the ousting of Santos. That to me speaks well of Mike Johnson, because what is the real motivation here? Now, George Santos lied his way into Congress. There is no ifs, no ands, no buts, no way around that. Spare me any spin. I deal in principles, not personalities. I'm not going to be a hack because he has an R by his name. Not going to go there. Not doing that. He lied. That is indisputable. But what is any different? Well, it is different, but my point being, how many other members of Congress have lied their way into Congress? Just different kind of lies, different set of lies, different. It is what it is. I think you know what I'm saying. And I'm looking at you, Adam Schiff, as well as so many others, especially on the left, and yes, some on the right. I don't play the hyper-partisan bull games. Liars are liars. Now, if you think something, you say something, you change your mind on something, okay, say you changed your mind. That I can buy, that I can accept. But to pretend you didn't say something and then acted another way, no, that's a whole other issue. But how many of these people in Congress literally stand on the House floor or Senate floor and lie outright to the American people, saying things are something that they know damn well is not factual, but they say it anyway, and they hide, of course, behind, oh, protected political speech. No, fraud is not protected speech. It's like the article, Free Speech and Yelling Fire in the Crowded Theater that I did. Yelling fire in the crowded theater is a piss poor, lame, lazy, moronic example of supposed free speech protections. If you yell fire where fire is not present, it is incitement. It is fraud in the inducement. You are responsible for those actions unless in a court of law you can honestly portray that you honestly thought for this, that, the other reasons, there was a fire and you really were trying to protect people. That is not protected speech. But to the point about Mike Johnson having reservations, to me, his instincts and intuition are good. What are the motivations here? George Santos already declared he will not seek re-election. So what's the point? The point, of course, is some, even on the Republican side, again trying to undermine the business of we the people. George Santos' debate on the floor whether he should be kicked from Congress if we had no other important business at hand to attend to, okay, do that. But they still.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Wham Radio, 1600 AM and 92.7 FM is your conservative flamethrower. Weekdays, Steve Gruber starts things off at 6 a.m. Gruber gives his perspective on the issues of the day. At 9 a.m., Glenn Beck blazes the airwaves with his nationally syndicated program. From noon to 3, it's Dennis Prager. At 3 o'clock, it's Wham's own Thayrone X. On the Edge, Thayrone tells it exactly as he sees it. At 6, it's The Dana Show, your conservative alternative. At 8, don't miss Joe Pags. Weekends are filled with conservative talk as well. Fingers Malloy, Thomas LeDuc, The Abolitionists Roundtable, A Moment of Clarity with Pastor Rick, Your American Heritage with Ed Bondarenka, Dave Janda's Operation Freedom, and Dick Kupke's Trigger Talk. You can even get links to Wham podcasts from Dave, Dick, and of course Thayrone, all from their pages on our website, whamradio.com. Keep it locked on Wham Radio, 1600 AM and 92.7 FM in southeastern Michigan, and whamradio.com anywhere in the world.
Still don't have all the budget resolutions done. So these are people behind the scenes looking to deflect, distract from the business that need be done in the Congress. So no, or yes, depending on your perspective, Speaker Johnson, reject it out of hand. Do not consider bringing any such nonsense about Santos to the floor. Just let him out the door. Get him out of the news cycle. Stop talking about him. He's done. He's over. He's a never was. He's a has-been, however you wish to look at it. I was hoping to get Bill's reaction to that. And another, speaking of a Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy now says he is uncertain, putting that uncertain in air quotes also, about his future. Well, Kevin, you are a disgraced congressperson. You are the first ousted speaker in forever. You're a disgrace. You're a joke. You should have resigned the minute Speaker Mike Johnson was sworn in as Speaker of the House. But since you didn't do that, I think it's high time that you announce your retirement from Congress, like Santos, and saying, like Santos, you won't seek re-election. And the good people of your state, if you still don't do that, need to make sure somebody challenges you in the primary and your state district ousts your butt. You're a disgrace. You're a joke. You're a farce. It's time you go. At any rate, this is going to just be that short segment. I do have a long list of other things. I'll make one other quick mention. Sheldon Adelson, some of you will recognize that name. Apparently, according again to Newsmax Scroll, so I don't know how much legitimacy or validity, or if this is rumor and hearsay, or somebody's pipe dream hopes will happen, but Adelson is supposedly contemplating trying to acquire the Dallas Mavericks basketball team from, I'm drawing a blank now, what's his, Mark Cuban. Idiot Mark Cuban. Yeah, Mark Cuban says some good things, but he's a leftist idiot most of the time. You know, like the gray areas episodes we discussed. Roseanne is all on social media again. Roseanne calls out Biden for this and that. So I respond, oh, so now we're concerned what the Green Party communist candidate for president has to say? Yes, I get it. I understand. It's convenient, but you have to, that she's saying this, but you must put it in full context. She's still a highly weird leftist for the most part. Yes, she's on board with Trump, but context, history, all these things matter. While she may say some good things, you have to balance that with some really dumb things she still says. So I've said on social media, pick better heroes, right? Pick better role models. Other people say the same things that don't have her historic baggage and idiocy of the past. Now, granted, yes, we welcome people from the left who are actual classical liberals who may finally awaken from their woke stupor. But there's a trial period, you know, show, don't tell. I'm going to be a bit suspicious. I welcome you, but I'm not going to fully trust you for a while. So Roseanne may be on board with Trump. That does not make her a Republican. It does not make her a conservative. It could be she just happens to like Trump. That doesn't mean she's completely changed. But as to Adelson and the Mavericks, if he intends to and can acquire to then shake up the NBA from the inside of its wokeism, against its wokeism, and its praise of the CCP and money grubbing from China, then I welcome it. But on the other hand, the other side of that coin is, why in the world would he want to become part of all that mess? So there are three things. I had others that I was going to discuss with Bill, but I'm going to sign out because, as I've said many times, I don't want these episodes to really be very long. As we build an audience, a newer audience is only going to be likely attracted if the episodes are shorter for them to sample, as opposed to other shows like Savaged Unfiltered. We may go an hour and a half on an episode. Other episodes like Rick Walker, Maverick News in Canada, he usually goes 3 hours. I sure don't expect to attract anybody new into the podcast if they're looking at 3 hours. They're not likely going to even sample it. So thank you all. Take care. God bless, and wishing you in advance a Merry Christmas if you're seeing on @JLunderDetroit, Rumble, or YouTube, you see I've got my Merry Christmas sweatshirt on during this recording. Thank you all. Take care and God bless. Hey, gang, a brief interruption in the show about Christmas giving, kind of, sort of, or to ask, are you a coffee drinker? What about other coffee drinkers you know? It's indeed Christmas giving time, Hanukkah giving time. Again, this being December now, I want to ask you, those coffee drinkers on your gift giving list, if I can get the words out correctly. What do you socks that'll get put in a drawer they forgot you gave them, a tie or a shirt that'll wind up buried in the back of the closet they forgot you gave them? How about something useful like blackout coffee? Yes, I am partnering with Blackout Coffee. You can use promo code JOSEL20, Joseph for Joseph, L20 for 20% off. JOSEL20 promo code. Or better yet, I've created a shortcut, tinyurl.com/blackoutcoffees. And of course, Blackout Coffees all run together as one word, not three separate words. So again, tinyurl.com. I love using their shortcut services /blackoutcoffees. Should take you right in and automatically apply your 20% discount. So for yourself or for others, this Christmas, give Blackout Coffee something you know they're going to use, something they're going to enjoy, something that they then finally remember you and your gift every time they sip from the Blackout Coffee cup of coffee. Thank you all. Take care. God bless. Merry Christmas. Thank you for having tuned in for ChristiTutionalist Politics Show. If you haven't already, please check out my primary internationally available book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you, available anywhere books are sold. If you have locally run bookstores still near you, they can order it for you, or autographed copies are available online direct from me via terrorstrikes.info/shop. And please tune in to Savage Unfiltered podcast, of which I am a co-host. And be sure to check out more about today's discussion at thelibertybeacon.com, where my articles drop every Saturday. And let me remind, over time, the fancy high production items will come. But for now, for starters, it's just you as a very appreciated listener by me. Indeed, just me on the podcast side end of things. All substance, no fluff. No fancy high production intro or inserts, at least yet, just straight to key discussion points. A show that looks at a variety of topics, mostly politics, through a Christian U.S. constitutionalist lens. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart, as I know you have over 168.9 million plus podcasts out there you could choose from. Thank you again so much for tuning into mine. Take care. God bless.
It is a myth that terrorism stopped during COVID. Unfortunately, mainstream media opted to prioritize pandemic hysteria over promoting all news. Terrorism continues. Simply hoping that it doesn't affect you is not a strategy. The new book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you, featured on The Author Show, is now available in paperback from bookstores, online, or as an ebook exclusively through Amazon Kindle. Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you by Joseph M. Leonard. Order today.